Very glad to be part of this launch function as well. So, I have a boy and a girl, and the boy just went into college, the girl is in 12th standard, so I can totally relate to what this is about. LSG was saying that parents exert a lot of influence. It's not just parents. In fact, both of us tried to direct the kids away from engineering. We kept telling them, please look at other options. Everything is fine. You can go into finance, you can go into humanities, whatever you want to do. But they still would only seriously consider engineering. And the reason is, I think, more peer pressure. That seemed to have a lot more to do with it. There's almost this impression in schools that if you choose any branch other than the science, there's something wrong with you. So, something like humanities would not even be considered by the top students, by the good students. So clearly there are a lot of, I think, barriers to be broken. I think that the point is that in our society, in our young age, we go through a very long period without being able to make an independent decision of our own, especially the most critical decision of our life. Obviously, your career is the most drastic decision that you will make. And I think that it is important to give children and young adults of that age all the tools and weapons they need to be able to resist all the external pressures that are put on them and be able to make the right choice. The thing that really bothers me, if I look at it, what's going on, parents put their kids into kindergarten at age 3, kindergarten, just so that they'll get a head start on everybody else. So that concerns me, but what worries me is the same parents will then go and fight tooth and nail with the teacher to get the 1 or 2 extra marks so that their kids in kindergarten will finish in the top of the class or in the high ranks. So right then we are inculcating, to me, the wrong values, right, in the children. Similarly, it concerns me that as the children grow up and they get into 10th, 11th, 12th, the parents and the peers kind of close off all options except very few. It's almost like they put blinders on these kids. But it worries me even more when they further compound the misery by making sure that every waking hour, the students are either in class or in tuition. That's pretty much the way life runs. And to me, the childhood is such a precious part of your life, and you should be enjoying it to the fullest, even if it means doing nothing. Actually, doing nothing is the best way to spend your childhood, a large part of your childhood. And that's being taken away from our kids because of all these influences. So why does it happen? I think there are 2 reasons. One, of course, is that we are taught from a very young age that we must respect our elders. That's a very basic philosophy of life in India. And for the most part, that's good advice to live by, but there is an implicit assumption there, which is that elders know best. Now that I have become an elder myself, I can question the wisdom of that hypothesis. I don't think it is necessarily true that age bestows wisdom. I think elders are just as capable of giving you wrong directions, wrong advice, as your peers or even those that are younger than you. So I don't think age really should play a role in this, but we are all conditioned. We are all trained to listen to our elders and do as they say. And the other factor, I think, is that at such a young age, many of us don't really have strong opinions about what we want to do. We don't really know what our skills are, what our characteristics are, what our talents are, what our likes are, what our dislikes are. And so at that point, we're very malleable. It's very easy to shape our thoughts. So if a couple of people come to you and say very strongly that you should do this or you should do that, we tend to do that because that's the path of least resistance. So I think, a program like this hopefully will implant some thoughts into the heads of young adults so that they think and make a conscious decision about what they want to do. Even in my personal case, as LSG was saying, I just got carried along with the flow. You complete your, in those days, SSLC and PUC, and it's almost guaranteed that you have to go write the joint entrance exam, and if you get through, you pretty much have to join. In fact, the only choice that I had, and it was a 7-second choice, I went into counseling. They asked me if I wanted to stay in Madras. I said yes. They said these are the branches that are available, pick one. So I picked one, and that's how I became a chemical engineer, and I had Professor Anand teach 2 classes for me. So we are making such crucial decisions in such a I don't know, ill-informed way, I mean, most of the time it works out. To me, I think the way we choose careers is just like the way we get married. You know, it's almost like, just like you have arranged marriages, here you have arranged careers. You kind of trust your parents to make the right decisions for you as far as who you should marry. And similarly, we seem to trust them to make the right decisions on which career we should adapt. And as I said, most of the time it works fine, because I do think that parents do exercise care and discretion and do not make completely off-base decisions. But still, I think it is good if youngsters can also be molded to take some responsibility for their actions, if they can also be trained to think about who they are, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and use that as an input in deciding what they really want to do with their lives. You know, if you look at IITians, we have all done quite well as alumni. But does that mean that we all went into IIT willingly? Maybe not. I mean, I used to call myself a reluctant IITian because, you know, if anything, I wrote JE hoping that I won't get in so that I could, my real passion was writing, and I wanted to get into MA, English literature and all that stuff. But I mean, after a while, I think if you're reasonably competent, you will do well in whatever profession you enter. But is that enough? I mean, you know, work is something you do every day of your life. And if it is not something that you're truly enjoying, if it is not something that you're not only putting your mind into, but also your heart and soul, then after a while it becomes a chore. I mean, you hate to get up in the morning, even if you're very good at your job. It's actually worse if you're good at your job because, you know, you keep getting more and more work loaded on you. So you wind up working a lot. And if you're really not enjoying what you're doing, then it can really become very, very hard to take. So I think it's important to find out what you like to do. And it's also important to find out what you want, what you're good at doing. And in the best case scenario, the two will match. If you like to do something and you're good at it, you're all set. But again, that's a luxury that many of us may not have. We may like to do something, but we may not be good at it. Or we may be good at something and we may not like it. The worst case, of course, is we wind up doing something that we're not good at and that we don't like. So I think programs like this, tools like this will enable us to do that kind of matching of what we like to do and what we are good at, and help us make informed decisions. So I think this is a great thing, and I think it's you know, one more thing that we can provide to our youngsters, and which will hopefully help them make better decisions, or at least more informed decisions than we did at their age. So I congratulate Nagarajan and his team for bringing this out today, and I wish the product all the success.